Hello, everyone. Welcome to the Women Are Worthy Network. I'm Jacqueline Charles, your host, and my beautiful co host is Miss Lisa Hurley. Lisa, you want to
Girl,
bring us in on this episode because from being trolled, from being disrespected about what we're going to talk about, like, the
right?
dark skin dilemma, it's been ridiculous.
Yeah, yeah.
So,
We didn't even start the show yet. We just posted about doing the show, and the trolls already came out.
exactly. And for those who don't know, we're going to be talking about the title of the show. Today's topic is the dark skin dilemma. So, Lisa, bring us in on, the dark skin dilemma. Like, let's talk about it.
Yeah. So okay, now it's basically about colorism, right? It's about colorism, and it's about how, generally speaking, in any society, basically where that was like post-colonial, where colonialism was a thing, where enslavement was a thing, uh, a caste system developed, and people who were closer in color to white were seen as more desirable, as smarter, all the quote unquote positive qualities. Anybody who was closer to being dark skinned was seen as closer to any negative qualities. And that's kind of where it started. And so when this new Viola Davis movie came out, right? The Woman King, which and just the spirit of transparency, you have seen it, I have not seen it.
Right.
I was trying to, it didn't work. It is what it is, but colorism is still a universal topic. But when I saw the movie coming out, I was like, I'm a fan of anything Viola Davis does, and I 100% am going to watch it when I'm able to. But then I was like, is it that dark skinned women can only be the warrior, can only be the mammy, can only be the wench and the slave and all of that stuff, right? And so I'm happy about it, happy that it came into being, happy for Viola. I think that she's at a phase now where she's finally getting her flowers, but also I'm a little sad because I want to see dark skinned Black women have more opportunities, right? Whether in Hollywood or anywhere else, right? Because colorism plays out on every platform, in every industry, in every walk of life. It plays out. And so I want darker skinned women to have an opportunity to be seen and to be soft and to be a myriad of other things apart from a strong Black woman.
You
So
know,
that was a long intro, but
no,
that's
no,
kind
no.
of what we were talking about.
No, it's not a long intro. And for those of you who are tuning in, thank you. We appreciate you. Share, 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 like, comment, subscribe. I've posted Lisa's social media following and, of course, subscribe to the channel. Okay, now that I got rid of housekeeping, because y'all know me, I give less than two hex because I'm going to say what I got to say, and it is what it is. So here's the issue that I was watching Viola Davis on a show, one of my favorite shows in New York. And she mentioned, and it hurt my heart because this woman has paid her dues. And she mentioned that it took her seven years to get this movie made. And it was harder because she was a dark skinned, dark complected woman. Now, mind you, what in the hell happened? We had Black Panther, for God's sake, and everybody in there was black, blue, black, all shades of black. So for me, it's not that I didn't believe her, but maybe I was naive, y'all, and charge it to my head, not my heart, to think that, oh, okay, now that we have Black Panther, we can do some more things. But apparently, that's not the case. So not only was she a woman and a dark complected woman, and just to listen to her share her story, and as you know, she talks about, in Hollywood, she had to wear the wigs and the weaves. She couldn't wear her natural hair. So again, she's in another form of bondage. So I want to say Miss Styles said dark skin is associated with being more masculine. Unfortunately, you know what? I didn't think about that.
It is. It
That is
is.
so true.
Yeah. Well, when you think about not saying, okay, there's so many layers to this. Obviously, women can be warriors, and women are multi-layered, and women are strong. We're not saying any of that none of that is true, but yes, darker skin is associated with being more masculine, right? That again, everything goes back to slavery, right? And so the darker skinned enslaved people were made to work in the slaves in the fields, right, out in the hot sun, doing sort of the hard labor. And then the lighter in complexion they were, the closer they got to the house, because the more delicate, more feminine, more acceptable they were perceived as being. And that still plays out today. And so when you think about Viola Davis and think about what she won the Oscar for, right?
Mm.
She won the Oscar for The Help. When Halle Berry won, now and I know Halle Berry is lighter skinned, but I mean we're talking about all of it. It's all colorism, right? But she won her Oscar for essentially, some would say, playing a woman who was essentially a prostitute, right? And so you have to look at those tropes and stereotypes that are associated with blackness in general and with black femininity, and look at the whole misogynoir of it all, right? Because that is what underpins the whole thing.
Well, here's what we have to start doing, and I don't know when it's going to stop because it bleeds into our black men, right?
Mm-hmm.
It falls into that because it's almost like, and okay, let me step back for a minute. For all our Caucasian brothers and sisters that may be watching the show, this is a dirty little secret that we have in our community that we don't we don't want to talk about because we
Yep.
got it. Someone posted something on Lisa's page that it's politically incorrect to talk about this topic. Let's just say I burned him when I went on her page and I read that. Okay.
Flamed.
Thank you. Okay. Because we need to talk about this. There's so many layers to this that we need to talk about. You have so many, you still have little dark skinned girls, babies that want to be light skinned or want to be white. And we need
Bleaching.
exactly. And this is 2022. We got to talk about this. And it doesn't help that our black men who are accomplished, that when they're in sports figures, celebrities, or whatever, for them, if it's not a Becky, it's someone who's light, bright. In our community, we call it damn near white, right?
Yeah, light, bright, damn near white. Either actually somebody who is Latina, or somebody who appears to be Latina, or just generally lighter skinned and quote unquote racially ambiguous, right? And I am telling you, okay, I can think of, let's say, Denzel Washington's wife is a dark skinned woman, right? I can think of him and maybe, I don't know, 2, 3 others.
Lawrence Fishburne. No.
No, no,
This is,
not him.
no, no,
But
no. I made a mistake. I meant the other one, Morpheus. No, that's Lawrence Fishburne. I
no,
can't
that's Lawrence
remember.
Fishburne. You'll come back to me.
Samuel Jackson.
Yes. Right. And those are rarities, right? Even you think of Will Smith and Jada, right? I don't know if you remember a song. It must have been. I mean, it's an old song because it's Will when he was rapping, right? But his song he has called "Summertime." And one of the lines in there is about getting with the honey with the light ice, right? It is something that is wanted, that is desired, that is sought after by many, especially darker skinned black men. And every time we say it, they come up with, oh, it's a preference. So, okay. So if we line up 100 of y'all born of a darker skinned woman, right? Born of a darker skinned woman, born frequently of a woman with kinkier textured hair. All of y'all, 98 out of 100 of y'all, have a preference for somebody that phenotypically looks nothing like you. And y'all trying to tell me that y'all didn't drink all the Kool-Aid and absorb all this messaging that's in media? Look, don't get me started. Anyway,
So we're gonna get started because we're starting off kind of timid right now because it's something that ticks the both of us off. So we
yes.
need to know. So we have to. How do you think we need to make that change? Because we have to level out the playing field. It doesn't start with Caucasian people. Let's keep it real. It starts with us. That's where it starts because once we start embracing each and every person and how you look at someone and you just look at the talent or the resume, you don't see the face. That's what we need to start doing, hiring, marrying people, and I understand you're right because that's the first thing men say. Well, that's a preference. That's a preference. How do we number one change, and we have to make sure our dark skinned women, and again, this let me preface this is nothing against lighter skinned women, light complected
No.
women, not at all. This all started based on me watching the interview with Viola Davis when she mentioned that it took her 7 years, and
Hmm.
because and also it didn't help because she was a dark complected woman.
Yeah.
So my thing is, we as women, as people, even dark skinned men, we have to figure it out. Now we do know the dark skinned ones are the ones that's jumping over there, right? And if you're walking down the street with a fair skinned woman, you're I'm not going to say you're lucky, but chances are she's going to get the hello, let me buy you a drink, let me take you out, that kind of thing. So what do we do? Miss Styles and Gloria, what do you think? And Lisa, what do you think we need to do to change this? Because this started in slavery. You're
It
right.
did. It
They
did.
put us out there in the fields, but I'm sick of hearing that
Hmm.
because now we got to change it. We got to change that generational curse, so to speak. We
Hmm.
have to change. You know what I'm saying? Something like that.
Yeah.
So my question to you is, and to all of you out there, do you think if Barack Obama was a dark skinned man with the qualifications that he has, married to Michelle Obama, do you think he would have been elected?
You see, no. That's it. No is the short answer. The longer answer, and America loves, not just America, Britain,
The
wherever. But
world.
we'll talk about America. America loves an acceptable black person. An
Mm.
acceptable black person, right? So take Barack Obama, for example. So he was quote unquote more acceptable because, to the best of my knowledge, he's biracial, if I recall correctly, right?
Mhm.
So that makes him more acceptable. If you look at, let's say, a Clarence Thomas, right? He had been, again, anybody feel free to correct me if I'm wrong. I don't mind being corrected. To the best of my recollection, he had been married to a black woman.
Mhm.
Once he decided, okay, this is where I want to go, to go with my career, right? Done for with the black woman and got with a white woman, right? And I hear your question about, okay, where do we go from there? We don't need to keep, I guess,
Right.
reiterating that this is how it is, although this is how it is and it's problematic. Um, but I don't know. The truth is, I don't know how you separate the two because absolutely Barack Obama would not have been the Barack Obama if he were darker skinned, unless he was married to a white woman. Unless.
Wow.
No, but again, and these are things I posted something similar. I posted something on LinkedIn the other day about saying that there's also this thing with not all white women, a lot of white women. There are some of them, quite a few of them out there who, they love their dark skinned black men, right? Um, and they don't seem to understand that. I don't even remember the word, but it's not in every single case, but frequently it's not a healthy dynamic. It's not a healthy dynamic. Not in every case, not in every relationship, because is it a case of you love this person or you love their phenotype because it's so different? Like when there were a lot of the Black Lives Matter protests, right? And I saw a lot of white women out there holding up placards saying, "Well, I black," And so therefore I support Black Lives Matter. You understood what my bleeps were?
Lisa, let's keep it real. Half of them, and again, hi, Miss Matthews. Let's
Hey.
keep it real now, okay? Because I don't got time to be the politically correct and all that foolishness. Let's be real. Half of them want to see the mystique. They
Yes.
want the manhood of
Yes.
our Black men. Because
Yes.
in their minds, all Black men have big members, okay?
Yep.
So they
Yep.
want that. That's
And
what
they want a part of the membership.
exactly. High five! High five!
They want membership.
Exactly. So my thing is, this is what I say. You know, they marry, you know, like the trashians, as I call them. You want to marry into the community. And there's a saying that says, you want the rhythm, but you don't want the blues.
Mm-hmm.
You want all the other stuff, but when we need you, when things are happening, you're not there. And I'm not saying for all, I'm saying for some. Because let's face it, it's a fetish. Thank you, Miss Matthew. It's a fetish because back in slavery days,
just like remember the word. I'm like, what's the word? That's the word.
Fetish. Yes. And just like how the men were betting, think about this. The men were actually, the slave masters were actually also betting the ones that were out in the field because they wanted that young, strong buck, right? That's how they looked at it. The wives, too, was out there doing that mandingo, getting the mandingo. Of course, not to get pregnant, but they wanted to see what in the heck is under this lower floor.
Exactly. But they did. There's a poet. I wish I could remember her name. But she's a very light-skinned Black woman, and she has this poem, and one of the lines in it is, "I have rape-colored skin."
Wow! You sure it was a Nikki Giovanni?
It was not. It's not Nikki Giovanni. It's somebody a little bit. It's somebody more recent. But I'm gonna try and find the poem and
try find it. Okay, so Miss Matthew wrote, please see the video titled "Karen's Contribution to Slavery" on the runaway slave tunnel. The pale ladies work to keep the bucks separate from the slave women to prevent love. Oh, she said, is it Miss Matthew said, is it Sonia Sanchez? Who you're talking about?
Possibly.
Okay.
It's late. Look, you know, well, we can be real. You know, it's late in the day for me. My brain is so tired right now. It probably is, but I remember that line. I have rape-colored skin. You know, and maybe somebody, you know, if somebody can, maybe I can Google it and see if I can.
If you have your phone, can you Google to see, you know, that rape-colored skin? Who was the poet that wrote that? But see, so we're talking about. Can you imagine? I can't. All the no's Viola Davis received in her field. She's a great actress. All the no's before, you know, things started opening up for her. And let's face it, just because she's in this movie, that doesn't mean things are opening up for her. She's still struggling where she shouldn't have to struggle. She's won an Emmy. She's won a Tony. She's won so many things. So, you know, she shouldn't have to struggle. But again, based on her complexion, she's struggling, and not just from the Caucasian community, also from our community, because dirty secret we don't want to talk about. Because when I was saying this to someone, they said, you know what, we don't want white people to know about this. Well, why not? Let's talk about it.
It's necessary, and it has to be. Listen, you cannot heal what you don't reveal, right? You have to bring it up, you know, push it out there, bring it up to the light of day, and start handling it that way. Like if it remains buried and remains a secret and remains verboten, like we can't heal from it, right? And if we really want to heal from it, then part of it starts with just talking about it, right? And I want to actually ask you, because so take for example my immediate family, right? So, we have, I guess, basically every shade, every, not every mix, but many mixes, right? I know I have family in Trinidad that, you know how we like to say we have Indian in our family? Well, not me, but I know there's a part of the family that has Indian, right? And some other races mixed up inside there. We have, quote unquote, undiluted white. for lack of a better word. I've heard that about melanin selling for more than gold. Yeah, I've heard about that. Yes, we have every phenotype, every shade, right? Um, Even with me and my sister, right? So my mother is lighter skinned than I am. My father is much darker skinned. And I said lighter skin than I am. Not say I don't consider myself light skin. I think I'm just like brown. Like, there's a whole set of us that are somewhere in the middle. I'm in the middle somewhere. My sister came out darker skinned. I came out, like I said, brown, somewhere in the middle. People do not believe that my sister and I are sisters.
Well, that makes sense. And let me segue into something,
Hmm.
right? Because we're gonna put a pin in that. I did a show on dark skinned women and I had a panel. And this young lady mentioned, I was gonna see if she can come on today, but it was such a late notice. Um, so ooh, so I gotta so what happened was like
What happened?
no, okay. So what happened with her was she has children. She has one child that's fair skin and another child that's dark skin. Her mother has a preference, and her mother prefers the lighter child, her lighter grandchild, than the darker fair grandchild. I mean, when I tell you that episode, it's on my YouTube channel. It was so sad to
Yeah.
hear what goes on because she asked me. I told her, I said, from Jamaica, we have Indians, we have Chinese, we have all those. We in our family, we never talked about someone had better hair and all that kind of stuff. We did. My grandmother is, could pass. My grandfather was blue, black, and dark like me. My brothers and sisters, if you put us all together and put me in a room, you would not think that I look anything like them because they
Hmm.
range from the cardboard white to banana yellow, and then you have me. So people just, they don't, people would say, like, I don't believe you're related to them or
Yeah.
whatever based on that. But again, if you're not familiar with the Caribbean and what goes on in the Caribbean, you would say that,
Mhm.
So for me, and I never had, because in the Caribbean, it's a known fact. And I think we talked about it once. I didn't have that in my family,
Yeah, that's
fortunately.
that's that's what I wanted to ask you is what were some of your experiences with colorism growing up, right? What were some of your experiences in terms of being targeted because of your skin tone? If you were, you
Okay,
might not have been.
I am not the right person to ask for this
Yeah.
because here's the thing. Like I said, you see, somehow when I look at myself, I have this thing where I think I'm darker than I am. My makeup used to be real dark, right? Not my actual complexion,
Yeah,
because
yeah.
I wanted to look like my grandfather. My grandfather was blue black, that when you turn off the lights, you would just see the yellow of his eyes and his teeth. That's it. So I wanted to be just like him. I never had, hand to God, never had issues like my other friends where they would be calling you, you're so black, you're dundus, and all that kind of stuff. I never had that. I had friends who had those issues and they couldn't believe my family, we didn't do that. My father never treated us differently. My grandmother never treated us differently. Never had that, because people would say to her, as light as she was, why did she marry this blue black man?
Yeah.
And and she would laugh and she would say, because I loved him. And my grandfather's like, it's not because you love me, it's because I could do the thing. Whatever
Well,
that meant.
it is
Okay?
what it is.
Whatever that meant. But let's read some comments. So Miss Matthews said, holding a surplus of melanin is a cosmic gift. Those that don't know this do not study the scientific truth of exactly what the miracle molecule is. Hashtag melanin. You got that right. That's more than gold, because
Mhm.
people are trying to get that, but that's another story. That darn Willie Lynch letter. Yes. The Willie Lynch letter. It's warped, thus it warped the minds of many minds. Science class taught that when carbon plus carbon and iron is boiled, cooled, you net steel strength. Iron in the periodic table of element is Fe equals female. Wow. The steel, steal, STEAL thing we think. They did not play on the word to take, steal, woman, man, entanglement together originally meant to get to her. When I tell you Miss Matthews is deep,
She's
she's deep.
breaking it down.
She breaks it down. So, she mentioned something that's so important, that Willie Lynch letter that they sent all over through the plantations to show the masters how to deal with the slaves, the light skin, dark skin, and things like that. So, Lisa, okay, today is, we're in the year 2022. What do we do as humans? Forget about just, for 1 minute being black, being dark skinned or what for me. What should we do in our community to help change this narrative and this racism? I mean, this colorism that we have. Because I've heard friends who like, well, I don't want him. I want a light skinned
Mm-hmm.
dude because I want my baby to have nice hair, that
Yeah,
kind of foolishness,
yeah, yeah. I mean, you know, it's 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 going to take, it's one of those brick by brick painstaking processes. I don't see it necessarily being solved or healed in our lifetime.
Right.
But that doesn't mean that we can't do what we can to help make things better, right? Um, for me as an activist, sometimes it comes down to, okay, what are you lending your voice to? What are you promoting? Even in terms of the imagery that we use. Let's say like you do a lot of promotional flyers, for example, right? So if you're doing a promotional flyer about a model, what skin tone, and the model is black, what skin tone of model are you using? Because part of what's happening, if you look at advertising, for example, right,
Right.
you will see, you know, let's say there's some family story being told in the ad. It's a dark skinned man and either a white or a very light skinned woman and two biracial children. Occasionally, occasionally you'll see a black man with a black woman, but somehow the children um, are darn near white, right? But this is all deliberate. So choices like that, changing what we put out in the media, because media, they call it programming. I think, is it Tammy that said this? But they call it programming for a reason, right? Because every single thing that you look at is programming your mind to say, okay, this is acceptable, this is desirable. So those of us who have some measure of a platform of power, of a voice, have to use that to start planting different seeds, right? Um, it starts with things like not encouraging young dark skinned girls, for example, to straighten their hair. It starts with not encouraging, not saying things like, oh, you need to stay out of the sun or you're going to get too dark, right? So it's kind of like we're dealing with a systemic issue. That's one thing, but on an individual, on a micro level, because not all of us can necessarily attack it on a macro level, but on a micro level, we can just make better choices and better decisions, right? You know, like take John Boyega, for example, who is in the movie with Viola Davis, you would know. And he's actually taken some heat now because he's come out and said, I only date black women. Now it's interesting because other races actually don't even have to come out and say anything. They just marry who they want. That's a whole side issue. But you will see many white people marrying other white people, or Asian people marrying, other Asian people. That's seen as perfectly normal. Somehow, a black person saying, no, well, I want to marry somebody black is an issue, right? But he is doing his part to push back against the narrative. That's something that he can personally do. He's extremely powerful. I mean, this, the guy in, was it in it Star, I always
Star
get
Wars.
Star, I was gonna, I'm like, it's not Trek, it's the other one, Star Wars, right, he has a massive following. Do you know how powerful it is just for him to say, I choose a black woman, a black woman is my first choice, a black woman is my only choice for me? That's immensely powerful, because even beyond the colorism thing, And I want to get into Nia Long and if colorism played.
Oh, girl, wait, hold on. Let's deal with this
What?
one right now, because girl, let me a long. Oh, okay, all right. But let's finish this up,
Yes,
because
yes, 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 yes. Just because she's a little darker brown. So I just, is there a relation? But just to be chosen. Now I can take you way back to when I was in Barbados. I had done a little bit of modeling, and the hotel that I worked for was like, okay, we want to shoot a new brochure, da 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 da. Lisa, we want you to, be one of the models. They had also flown in a model from the States, right? Again, this is back in Barbados. So I'm in an all black country. They flew in a white model from the States, no problem, right? Now, the white model she's the talent, right? You do photo shoots, you understand. She's a talent. And, she has, the photographer, the makeup artist, the stylist, the da 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 da, right? I had to the best of my knowledge, I could be wrong, but I had to find my own dress myself, do my own makeup, do my own hair, all that sort of stuff, right? Even the model herself, she was like, wow, did you do your makeup yourself? I was like, yes, I did. She's like, it looks amazing, right? Meanwhile, her makeup artist is standing there, right? At the end of the day, whose picture you think they chose to put in the brochure? It was in the
it's gonna be hers. It's gonna be hers.
it's going to be hers.
Mhm.
And so that's what I mean. And this is, I don't want to put my whole age out there, but it was a long time ago, right? And we're still dealing with it today. But just imagine, right, if different choices are made, like what Rihanna is doing with her fashion shows, for example. Very, very inclusive.
And for her to be so young, and to be smart, to understand,
Mhm.
what goes on, because she's picking all shades, and the first one to do foundations for darker
Yeah,
complected women. And it's funny, because when I look at, again, this is my opinion. Then you look at models like Iman, who said publicly, when she was working, the white skin, or the Caucasian women, had makeup artists. The makeup was perfect, but for her,
yeah.
she looked ashy. She had issues. The colorism. I am not saying she's wrong for marrying David Bowie. I am just saying, but what have you done now, being a dark complected woman, to help towards? Because she started her own makeup line
She
before
did.
Rihanna. She
She
said
did.
Rihanna used to wear her makeup. So
Mhm.
my question is, what the struggle was. What have you done in the community? I understand you do things in your country, but what have you done to help uplift, embrace the dark,
But
fair
but
women?
here's the thing, right? And because one of the things that's been a recurring theme in our conversation today is the matter of choice and preference. Because you better believe, and we have seen it happen more than once, right? That I'm not saying none, but ain't no big set of black, no matter how beautiful Iman is, no matter how beautiful Naomi Campbell is, add your names to the list. The dark skinned black men are like, oh, well, she's lovely, but she's a little too dark. I want my baby's light. It don't matter how much global model she is, right? So yeah, she's gonna marry her David Bowie.
Oh, I get it, because you're saying, okay, it clicks
Who?
now.
Because I'm saying John Boyega, for example, right? Where John Boyega is an anomaly, right? We know this. He's an anomaly. How many black men have you ever heard say, you know, I choose black women. Black women are my first and only choice. A. B. Again, we started this at the top of the show. How many black men are choosing darker skinned women, black women, as their partners? Very, very, very few,
And
right?
it's true. It's
It's
true.
true. It's
It's
true.
true.
And so you have an Iman, and they like to tell the story that the white savior complex is always real, right? And so this back in the day with Iman, they had this story about how they discovered her somewhere,
Yeah.
right? She was at university, getting her degree.
Mhm.
Highly educated woman, but they have to tell that story, right? So she is a dark-skinned, highly educated Black woman, right? You and I are both highly educated, highly accomplished. Yes, our skin tones are different. Again, I don't call myself light skin at all, right? I'm just like medium brown. You've called yourself darker skinned, right? Very accomplished, very intelligent, etc., etc., etc. It's not like in my personal experience, some of my better relationships have not all, but some of my better relationships have been with men that are not Black. Because the Black ones come in.
Wow.
Yeah, yeah.
Wow.
Not all,
Right. Right.
but many, right? Because, and I'll say, like I remember once dated specifically a white, yeah, why is it like the whitest, like Nordic, right? And loved everything about me. Another Black guy now. Oh, what about your hair? Oh, what about your nails? Oh, they're gone in the sun. Oh, da 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 da. Can you put on weight? Can you lose weight? And all these requirements. All these requirements.
You know, and here's the thing that we have, because you're talking about Black men, and we also have Black women, because I'll never
Yeah.
forget this. I had this lady do my makeup. She was a Black woman, and she suggested that I get a nose job. I said, why
Yes.
should I get a nose job? She's like, well, so now me, when you tell me things, I'm going to bring it to the table. And I'm like, why should I get a nose job? You're doing my makeup. I know I have
She said
lovely
that.
skin. I have lovely skin. And the first thing she says to me, you should get a nose job. And I'm like, why should I get a nose job? This is what she said. I'm telling y'all, because we got our sisters who are like that. She said, because I would look much better and I would photograph much better. Okay. Yes, she did. No,
Well, let
she
me tell
wasn't
you.
right.
Well, let
She
me
was
tell you.
right.
Well, let
She
me
was
tell you.
right. She was a sister.
I am glad that you brought this up because we're always so aligned because I had made a mental note about something to do with noses. One thing I want to say to do with noses is that you never, ever, ever, I defy you to tell me when you ever heard somebody say, I got a nose job to make their nose wider. I defy you. I
Yeah, of
defy
course
you.
not. Of course not.
You understand what I'm saying? But that tells you what is the preferred, right? That's number one. Number two is go and look at some really, really, really old pictures of Tyra Banks. I'm sure you know this, right? Even Tyra, who is comparatively light skinned, has the desirable green eyes, all that stuff, but her hair was a bit too kinky. Okay, well, fine. We can put on a weave, we can do relax, we can do all that. But that nose, honey. Tyra would not be Tyra if she had not gotten her nose job. And it's still basically like that today. It is still basically like that.
And
It is
it's
so
bad you
unfortunate.
getting your own people to
Yes.
perpetuate that. Like, Miss Matthews said, like those no job don't work out
Mhm.
right. Like the Jacksons, the Tamar Braxtons, the
Because
Neelys.
they kept making it smaller and smaller. That's why poor Michael, his nose eventually like collapsed. Like there was nothing left, you know? And it's so funny, like Patti LaBelle, somebody in the comments mentioned Patti LaBelle. She got a nose job, right? But it is that pressure. It is that pressure. I mean, I don't it's so when you told me what you told me just now, that somebody
Mhm.
suggests you get a nose job, I
A
was like, what?
makeup artist, a Black makeup artist. Yes. I've never gone back to her. Yeah. Black makeup artist.
Wow.
Yeah, and I still see her. I don't say anything to her. And I'm
It's
going to be
horrible.
honest. Let's keep it real. Okay. So, because we're all about transparency, we're family. I'm just talking to you.
Mhm.
Nobody else is listening to what I'm
Right? It's
saying.
just
Just
us.
me and you, just us. When she told me that, it's like I felt I was hurt for a minute.
Mhm.
I'm going to keep it real. I was hurt. And I'm like, and this girl is gorgeous. And I'm like, why would you say something like that? Because I was thinking in my head, because the old Jackie wanted to come out. And
Right,
I
right,
said,
right.
let me process this. So I said to her, why
You
would
brought
I
out
do it?
your crystals, and
Yes. I said, what? No, this is before crystals, honey.
it's
I
before.
said, this was during this. So I said, why would you say that? Because I was so, like when someone says something to you and you're like shocked, you don't know what to say,
Yeah,
you're
takes your breath.
speechless, right? Because I normally am a talker, but you can tell I'm shocked if I don't have a comeback. And I'm like, I was shocked. And I said, first, I'm like, this is a Black woman. We're friends, because I knew her outside of makeup. And I'm like, wow. And she says, because you would look better. Your pictures will look a lot better if you do that. And I said, so I said to her, better to whom? She said,
Right.
better to the ones who have the money. And I said, who have the money? I ain't gonna lie to you. I said, let me go to the bathroom. I went to the bathroom, keep it real. I cried. I did. I
Yeah,
did. I
yeah,
let her get inside my head, because I'm gonna be transparent with y'all.
yeah,
Y'all are family. And I'm like, now the funny thing about it is, when she said that, my siblings, they all have straighter nose like my grandmother, but
mhm.
it just hit me like, it didn't hit me like, am I ugly? What hit me, and if I did, I would have said that and it would have been a better story. What hit me was like, you're my friend. Why don't you accept me for me? So, because she had a lot
But
of
no,
connections.
but no. But here's the thing. Here's the thing. Not to cross you, but accept, accept. No, and I say accept because part of the reason why I'm so in shock, right, is because, and I'm not saying this to blow smoke up your you know where, right? But you're so pretty.
I know, right? I
You
know.
are. You
I know
are.
now. But thank
Exactly the
you,
way
Miss Matthews.
you are. You are.
But I
And
didn't know. But I didn't see it. No, no.
but it's like I'm thinking to myself, how you even have somebody in your life that is looking at you, not seeing you as beautiful and lovely and amazing and all good things. Right? I don't even I was in shock because it's not like I ever looked at you and thought, "Ooh." You know what I'm saying? Like,
Mhm.
no, I just don't understand it. And that's a whole nother thing. I mean, our conversations always segue, but you have to be
Mhm.
so careful about
But
who
my
you
thing is,
allow in your life.
it's like I accept you for who you are. So I thought it would be the same thing with her. I would never look at you and say, Lisa, why don't you pin your ear? Why don't you? It didn't dawn on me. But then I realized later on, getting to know more and more of her and watching her on social media, where she would do the ass shot, the boob, one like she was the Instagram person before
Right.
Instagram became hit with all these women and the BBLs and all that kind of stuff. So I felt better, but it hurt me to see, if I had gotten that message from a white person, it wouldn't have stung. That's the word I'm looking for.
Yeah,
But it
yeah.
stung from a
Because it's
sister.
one of your own.
Yes, who I thought was a sister friend of
Mhm,
mine. And
mhm.
of course, I cut her off, because if you're going to say that, what else are you going to pick apart? I have already been instilled with positive reinforcements of who I am. I know I'm a fly ass person. It doesn't bother me.
You tidied that one up nicely, a fly
Oh,
ass
yeah, you caught that, right?
person.
You caught that. You
You're a person.
you caught that. So my thing is, I want all the ladies I'm around to be gorgeous and beautiful and fly. But it did sting, and I used that moment to say, I'll never ever let a sister
Mhm.
sting me like that ever again. I am worthy. I am beautiful. I am gorgeous. I'm a good human being. I'm a good sister. I'm a good friend. I'm a good spiritual person. So I just want to share that with you, that it
Thank
stung.
you.
I went in the bathroom and cried when I came out, because she was in the middle of doing my makeup. She knew, because she saw the tear stain, and she just kept on doing. I let her finish my makeup, and then I never went back to her.
Wow. I mean, a lot of us, whew, we do it to ourselves and each other. Another way that it plays out, because okay, a subset of colorism is also texturism with the hair, right? And so you see it now. Ms. Matthews says your hubby loves your nose. Yes, he sure does. You see it now with a lot of these newfangled, I don't know what to call them, hairstylists or whatever, right? Who, first of all, like they want you to do the whole service before you get to them, right? They want you, you need to wash and deep condition and treat and blow dry and You know, it has to be absolutely bone straight before I will braid it. Now, I remember because it's too tough and it's too hard and it's too difficult and all this stuff. Now, first of all, as you know, I grew up in Barbados and I used to go to my friend Rosemary's house, right? And she would braid my hair. Now, I have one, as I've said before, 1,000% 4C hair, right? Unapologetically, right? So there's no wave. It is all coils like that. And of course, you go with your hair clean, obviously, right? But you don't have to blow dry. You didn't have to do all that stuff. And the hair came out flawless, right? But now there's this thing this thing of your hair has to be a certain texture. And if it's not that texture, we have to get it to that texture just to be able to braid it. Well, is that the case, or can you just not braid properly? I mean, I'm just saying, right? Because the real braiders just braid the hair. But then you go in there and they make you feel bad. They make you feel bad. I have been made to feel bad for my hair texture.
Wow.
Yeah. I hated that Chris Rock documentary, but that's the same.
I loved it. I loved that documentary. I loved it because I think
we should talk about it sometime.
Yeah. Okay. We'll talk
it'd be interesting to hear. It'd be interesting to hear. Yeah.
Yeah. Let's talk. Yeah. Put that on the list for us to talk about on the platform.
And can I just also say, right? You see, people, this is how you do things. She loves it. I hate it. It doesn't mean either of us are bad people. She wants to hear my perspective. I want to hear her perspective. Period. That's it.
Right. Because we're here.
Please do more of this.
Yeah. That's what we need to do. Have more conversations. So. Yeah. Okay, so we're on the 46th minute. Let's talk about a topic that's near and dear to my heart. This Nia Long saga, because we would be remiss in not talking about this. And let me set this up. On October 12th, our next show will be October 12th. Make sure you subscribe to the channel. You'll get the notification. We're going to be talking about monogamy versus polygamy. Is it too much to ask for monogamy? Is monogamy outdated? Is polygamy the new thing? Because, back in Africa, we had that. We're going to have a conscious conversation. And I'm telling you, this is going to blow the roof off. I'm telling you. Because
I am so ready. I am so ready. So that is Wednesday, October 12th.
Right. Right. Yep. It's 7 p.m. So please make sure that you're here. That's our next show. That's going to be the next show, October 12th on Wednesday at 7 p.m. It's going to be monogamy versus polygamy. So we want y'all to come. We want y'all to make sure you have your champagne, your wine, your juice, your water, your beverage of choice. If you're a little tipsy, we're going to talk about this. I want the ladies to put comments in there so we can talk about it. So here's the thing. This whole thing is maddening because why is it that people believe because she's beautiful, she can't be cheated on? I'm not understanding. And this is a man that cheated on her before. I'm not saying it's her fault, so don't come at me. I'm not saying it's her fault, but what makes her different from any Lisa, Jackie, any other woman that's walking this earth who's not a celebrity? I'm not understanding. Not only that, she's with a man who's a celebrity, but he's in the basketball arena, and we all know what they say. It's a stereotype, but somehow he falls into it. This is not his first time cheating. So I'm not understanding what the whole big hoopla is with people like, oh my God, I can't believe he cheated on Nia Long. We don't know her personally. We like what we see on screen. I am never going to put down my sister and say she's a raving lunatic. I would never say that, because if that were me, I don't know what I would do. You know what I'm saying? Well, I know what I would do, but I can't say it on this broadcast. But anywho, I'm not understanding that. I don't get that dynamic like we know her personally. But if it's true, and I'm sure it is, of everything allegedly that he has done, Lisa, this is ridiculous. And from what I'm hearing, there's so much more we don't know. You have a wife, then you have someone who's planning her trip to you're sleeping with her, and you're allegedly sleeping with what the heck?
Listen.
What kind of penis is he running around with?
Listen, basketball penis
Jesus.
apparently is better than regular penis. I don't know. But basketball penis comes with basketball pockets, basketball money, basketball access, basketball lifestyle, right? And so the penis probably doesn't even have to be that good, quite frankly. You understand what I'm saying? It does not have to be that good. A lot of people, and we spoke about this a bit on our last show about people wanting to rent a lifestyle, right? That's all part of it, having access to that lifestyle. But I will say this. I do completely understand where you're coming from in terms of your confusion as to why don't people understand that anybody can get cheated on.
Yeah.
However, I think that there is for many of us, you're a very realistic person, right? Many of us, including sometimes myself, it's like you kind of what your life is like, and you're like, oh, this is what I'm going through right now. I hope somebody else is happier. I hope somebody else is doing better, or whatever it happens to be. And so let's say you look at somebody like a Beyonce, which a lot of people do, and think, oh, that's a kind of a lifestyle that I would like to live, or a kind of a marriage I would like to have. And
but he cheated on her, so what kind of man?
Well, that's what I'm saying. That's what I'm saying.
Yeah.
That they're looking on and seeing a facade, right? And imagining, and also, frankly, Beyonce is beautiful. I think a lot of people think, all right, well, if how do I phrase this? I've heard people say, well, if the woman was better looking, if the woman would put out more, if the woman would quote unquote do what the mistress is not doing, if the wife would cook, clean, they come up with all kinds of rules, right? One of which is also do more with herself and be more beautiful and be better looking, make an effort. That's one that you hear a lot, right? You do.
Look,
I'm not saying it's right. I'm not saying it's right, but you hear that a lot. And so I think that there is this thought that if you're that beautiful, I remember back in the day, people were like shocked and horrified when Halle Berry got cheated on.
I was just gonna say that. Yeah, right? I was just gonna say that. Yeah.
But it has always happened. But what people don't are failing to take into account is that
they're human.
Yes, these men might have upgraded, if you want to look at it that way, right? They're operating at a certain level, like it or not, right? They're operating at a certain level. But then everybody in their life is at that level, right?
That's true. And like Michael Douglas did the same thing, because he's mad. But Miss Matthews said something which is so true. When JD, and we have to hold women accountable. And and again, Miss Matthews, I don't know if you thought I was scorning Nia, because I was reading something and I wasn't. So I just want to put that out there. Here's the issue that I have. When JD was dating Janet Jackson, and they did, and Miss Matthews put that in there. I remember reading that interview. Watching the interview. People wanted to know, why would you cheat on Janet? Why would you cheat on Janet? And every man so far Janet had, with the exception, I think her last husband, cheated on her, right? So here's the thing. JD said something, and I didn't even think about this. JD said, the minute he got with Janet, he got more attention, which means the sisterhood, the JJs, because let's be honest,
competitive and toxic,
good-looking guy,
competitive.
Okay? He's not good-looking guy. But the minute, so it's basically he has Janet, so I want him.
Yeah,
so it's like the sister.
It's bragging rights. It's bragging rights. That's all it is.
Right. That's
but
crazy.
everybody is not. I don't know. I don't want to even use the word evolved, but everybody's at a different on a different path and at a different stage. And yeah, there are some people for whom it's like, okay, if I can have a piece of what, quote unquote, piece of what Janet had, absolutely, and they are going to feel fulfilled by that. That's how it works.
Wow. So here's something, Miss Matthews worked in law enforcement, and she said a fellow officer told her, and she said she'll never forget it, when I asked him why do men cheat, and why a lot of them cheat. his response was, you can boil an egg, you can scramble an egg, you can poach an egg, you can fry an egg, you can bake an egg, and yet it's still eggs. That
Mm.
is ridiculous because, and I've always said this, unless you have a platinum vagina and no one is shooting gold out of theirs, right? I don't get it because it's healthy on how it's supposed to look on the inside. Women are going out and getting
I'm,
these surgeries to make them.
I'm still stuck on platinum vagina. I'm still.
I have another word for it, but I can only say that, right? So I think it's not shooting Star Spangled Banner out of there. It's not shooting stars. So I'm not understanding, I'm getting to understand this now because women are going to so many extremes that they're going to the doctors to have, it stitched up.
Yeah.
Yes, the lady parts. They're doing so where Jada even talked about it on her show that she wanted that.
She got it rejuvenated.
Exactly. So it's is it the man or is it the woman? And when you hear women say, well, I didn't make vows with him, she did. What happened to the sisterhood? What happened to Lisa, what you have? I don't want your sloppy seconds.
Well, there's a couple of discussions there. One is 100% the sisterhood, right? I don't want to be with anybody that one of my girlfriends, sister friends, no, absolutely not, right? Everybody thinks differently. However, everybody thinks differently. In terms of a relationship, though, and cheating, right? What often happens is that the woman who is being cheated on, like, goes off on the other woman in the triangle situation. In that particular situation, I think the anger is misdirected. I'm not saying that the woman is right.
Yes, I agree.
But I do agree, however, that no, she actually did not make a vow to you. I'm not saying that she should be with your man. I'm not saying that. That should not happen either. But here we are. This is the situation. Go deal with your husband. Go and deal with your husband.
The only way if you and I got into a situation like that, and let's say, well, no, because you're doing like the Gail thing. Someone asked Gail, would she sleep with Stedman? And if Oprah found out, she's like, the first thing I told Oprah, if that were to ever happen, is to ask me if I'm okay and take me to a psychiatric place.
Yeah.
I thought that was the perfect response, right?
Yeah.
So my thing is, it's not going to happen, but it's like, okay, if that happens, you got to take my temperature to make sure everything's okay. What did I do? Because I don't want what you have because I don't want your sloppy seconds.
Yes.
But when do we say, but then you have women who, because that's why you have a lot of women don't want to say how good their husbands or boyfriends are treating them, because there's this thing in the community that if you say it, other women are going to want what you have. So, but then you have so many people who are not successful in a relationship that they want to hear these things, but other women don't. Like in October, I'll be married 34 years. People don't want to hear you talk about the good things, because I find a lot of people say, Jackie, don't say this, don't say that, don't say that. Because I said, look, if another woman wants to come, I'm not coming after her, I'm coming after him. You know what I'm saying? Now, if we're friends and you decide to do that, I'm doing both of y'all. I'm doing both of y'all because we're friends,
Right, and that should never happen as friends. Exactly.
Wow. So Miss Matthews wants to know, by the way, do you feel bad for Wendy after seeing her documentary, Mess, or some title like that? I feel bad for her. It's not karma. Joan Rivers gossip. Did they freeze her money? I do feel sorry for Wendy.
Wait, what happened? She got cheated on again? What happened? I don't know what happened.
What happened is, Wendy's husband was cheating on her for years. Wendy knew about this.
Is this the one that turned out to be gay? Or am I?
No.
Am I mixing up my stories?
Wendy Williams, the Wendy Williams.
Yeah, I know. Okay.
Yeah, her.
I was thinking of somebody else.
It was the worst kept secret. He was cheating for years, but he wasn't supposed to have a baby and leave her, so he did that. So I don't I never, when I'm on shows or if I'm watching a podcast and they're dogging Wendy out, I'll put something in there because at the end of the day, we have to give people grace. She's already going through, she already has medical issues. She's having some neurological things going on now. Her mother died and she's having a lot that's coming down on her, right? People are using, because what she did for a living, how she did break a lot of people's spirit. She did do that. But at the end of the day, I hear that, but what she's going through now, when I hear people say that's her karma, that's good for her, it's not good for her. I don't want to wish bad on another person like that. That is not cool. And I've seen her go after some women, but still, that's not cool. Mentally, Wendy's not there, and she has nothing but yes people around her. So I'm wishing her well. And whenever I'm on social media and I'm on a platform or I see people going after her, I definitely go in the comments and say, you know what? We don't know what happened behind the scenes, but regardless, she's going through a lot right now. We got to give her grace. We can't, we can't be a part of the problem. When are we going to give people grace by, okay, you messed up? When are we going to start doing that? You know what I'm saying? We have a lot of celebrities who are horrible. They turn their lives around, because of grace that they were given. Wendy deserves grace. I mean, I really feel bad for her. They froze her money. She couldn't pay her employees. Someone's really,
I didn't know that it had gotten to that level.
yeah, really bad. Somebody's participating in her demise right now. And by the same token, I'm here to support Sherry Shepherd in what she's doing. She's doing her job, and people are trying to make her feel bad for it because she has Wendy's slot. We need to stop. Why does it have to be one or the
Either
other?
or.
You know what I'm
It can
saying?
be
It
both
can be
and.
both. Well, I'm ranting into a whole nother topic, but
That's okay.
we want to talk about. So Gloria said it's all about the integrity of the man, not the way the woman looks. Yeah, I like that. But where are our black men? Okay, because for example, we had a lot of our brothers go through a lot. Chris Brown went through his stuff, right? Where were the black celebrities that people look up to reaching out to him, right? I was disgusted, and I'm going to put it out. I was disgusted when Will Smith slapped Chris Rock,
Chris. Mm-hmm.
and Tyler Perry's and all those people ran over to Will Smith, light skin, ran over to Will Smith, and no one bothered to ask Chris Rock how you doing. Now, it was a joke. Now, some people say he went too far, but this is a joke that he's made. And when you sit in the front row, it's normally you go after the people sitting in the front row. I don't think the joke that he made, because I've heard other people with alopecia said it wasn't that bad or whatever the case may be. For God's sake, he did a show on hair and he had a woman who had alopecia on there. I do believe him that he didn't know she had alopecia, but that's a whole nother topic, because when I tell you I want to have a conversation about Jada Smith, but I digress. And I'm saying that
digressing is what we do.
And I'm saying that because I'm reading what Miss Matthews is asking about that. She said, many feel that Sherry's too boring to replace Wendy. She's not replacing Wendy. She's just being Sherry. It's going to take her a while to get her footing because she's nervous. She's scared. She thinks every little thing she does, people are going to pick it apart. I'm glad.
And she's right.
I'm glad Oprah sent her flowers to boost up her self-esteem, to help her a little. It's going to take her some time to get her foot right. Because now, when she first came out, she wanted to be like a Wendy. She was doing some Wendy segments when Wendy was on the show. We all need to. Y'all, we got a black woman that got a show. Can we celebrate that? Can we
support her?
That? God, dog. You know what I'm saying? We need to support her, because who knows, if she gets canceled, they may say, okay, that's enough. We don't gave too many of them. It didn't work out. Let's go back to the regular program.
And that has happened before.
Exactly. Yeah. I mean, she's doing her best. She just doesn't know. I'm sure so many people are in her ear. She doesn't know what to do. I think she needs to turn it down and realize she was given this shot for a reason. Now, do I think she's good enough to carry the show by herself? No. She needs a co-host. She needs a male co-host, in my opinion. She needs, she's good, but she needs someone better to help her along. So she said she hears Cat Williams take take on it about a 10-minute long video. They feel it was staged. I don't know about the slap. I don't know. But so let me ask you a question before we, end this. Uh how do you feel the show went tonight regarding what we're talking about?
I think it went well, but I almost feel like we scratched the surface. How do you feel?
I think we scratched the surface. I'm glad we didn't go too deep because I think we have to start here. Then you and I know there's going to be more things. Then we're going to go deeper and deeper and deeper, where we're going to have to roll up the sleeves, bring the shovel, because when we're done, we're going to have to bury the skeletons. You know what I'm saying?
And there are so many.
There's so many. Because again, we want everyone to support the show, because what we're doing here is we want to have conscious, intentional conversation. We're not here to compare ourselves to anybody else. This is just Jackie and Lisa, Lisa and Jackie. This is all that we're trying to do, because we talk as girlfriends on the phone and we'll say, hey, why don't we talk about this on the platform? I'm finding a lot of shows are being either too politically correct or too ratchet. We're in between, because I am the ratchet and she's the politically correct. So when you bring it together, when you bring the show together on this, you're going to have it's a great combination.
Listen, if I am the politically correct one, we have a problem, okay?
I'm telling you, it is what it is. And we are getting, so Miss Matthew said, to China Arnold's on there. And look at her friend. He cheated on her. And then you had Lisa Ray's husband who cheated on her.
Yes.
It's just, again, we have all of this. The cheating. So that's why I said, let's talk about monogamy versus polygamy. Okay. Is monogamy, should we even be living in a monogamous, lifestyle?
Yeah. I'm excited to talk about it. And again, as a reminder, that is Wednesday, October 12th. Right?
And I'll put the flyers out there. That one, y'all.
Yeah.
I'm going to turn the lights down, because y'all not going to know who is talking when I start talking about this. Y'all going to be shocked.
I'm excited.
So Miss Matthews says, as it was said in a study millions of years ago, the inception of this planet, there was no such terms of dark skin, why we all were, till Jacob went into that cave. Yeah, she's right. She's right. So to China Arnold's husband, he cheated. He was an ex-basketball player, and he cheated on her too. He was a basketball college coach, and he cheated, and it was a whole big thing. Then you had Gabrielle Union. She was cheated on, but she was married. Gabrielle Garcelle
Beauvais. Yeah.
She was cheated on by a Caucasian guy, and she decided to let me send the email to all his bosses and everybody in the company.
She did?
That's what she did. When she found out what he did, she found all the information, and she sent an email to everyone on it, from his boss down to the janitors, about him cheating. That's what she did to her ex-husband.
Well,
I'm not saying she did the right thing. I'm just saying, wow.
I'm here for the energy, though. I'm here for it.
Now that's balls, okay?
Right?
That's balls. So St. John's. So again, we want to thank everyone for tuning to the Women Are Worthy Network. Lisa and I really appreciate it. Let me put Lisa's this is her LinkedIn, her social media platform. Make sure you share, like, and subscribe to the channel, because with that, go ahead.
If you want to join the tribe,
you must subscribe. Little old me came up with that one.
I love it.
So again, if you have any other topics, make sure you can send an email to Women Are Worthy, women, WOMEN, are worthy @gmail.com. And we got our Women Are Worthy mug, y'all. Look at that.
I love it.
Look at that. Yes.
Beautiful.
Did that. And if you want the mug, email me, womenareworthy@gmail.com. And it's $15, $5 shipping. I'm telling you this, I dropped this mug so many times. I'm telling you, yes, it's hard like my head. But, so we want to thank you for tuning in. And again, before we sign off, I want to remind everyone, we're now in September. Make sure you get time for your well care. Do your mammograms, do your pelvic, do everything. Your colonoscopy if you're over 50, or if that's what you need to do. Your breast exam, as I said, your mammogram. Get everything done. Make sure you take time for self-care, and you get your wellness visits in. It's almost December 31st. And we talked about it before. We're going to be doing a virtual,
Vision board. Is
a
that vision
vision
board?
board.
Yes.
Lost for a minute. A virtual vision board. So we'll keep you guys posted on that. So for now, bye. See
Bye.
ya.
Thank you. Bye.